Alright, so what were we talking about? Oh, Inhumans. We saw the Inhumans trailer. For
Marvel's Inhumans.
Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? Stay tuned to find out.
Well, they're going to show the first 2 episodes in theaters because it's in IMAX.
And it's recorded on IMAX cameras. Even though only the first 2 episodes will be on IMAX. Unless you own your own IMAX, and then I guess everything's on IMAX, but I don't think there's a lot of crossovers between our listeners, people who own their own IMAX theater.
How many people do you think there are that do that? Like in Lego Batman, how he's in like a whole theater and he's just watching old movies. How many people do you think
that just have their own theater in their house?
Yeah.
I guess any sized house, above any size house that lives in Los Angeles. Sure, a lot of them have movie theaters in there now.
More than a couple.
If you spend $1 million on your house, it should have a movie theater. Or a bowling alley. But I think you get more use out of the movie theater. A lot of people used to put bowling alleys in their house.
Yeah, used to. In the 70s.
And you have to change your own pins? Who would put a bowling... we're getting off topic. We're talking about Inhumans.
Oh, yeah.
Are these mutants we've never heard of? Well, I've never heard of them. They didn't have a cartoon about the Inhumans.
I think there's a comic.
But if you don't read the comics, there's no prior source of information about these characters. Except they're by Marvel, they're not... They're different types of humans. They didn't really explain why they're Inhumans in the trailer.
We didn't get that much information.
Watch the show. But basically, so there's a bunch of guys they sent to the moon. A bunch of people live on the moon.
We don't know how they got on the moon either.
Oh, right. But they're on the moon. And they're Inhumans. I mean, that's a little on the nose, isn't it? Would a race of people really refer to themselves as less than human by definition? We're Inhumans and we have every right that humans do. It doesn't really sell your argument. They just need to rebrand is what I'm saying. Mutants had it right.
I don't think they refer to themselves as Inhumans.
No, in the trailer he referred to himself as Inhuman.
You did?
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to watch it again.
Let's watch the trailer again. There's always a chance I'm wrong too, and then I don't want to look dumb. Watch the first trailer for Marvel's Inhumans.
Giant dog.
Yeah, I said it looked like they were from space, but they're just from the moon. Doesn't count. I don't think it counts. Alright, it does count because it's not like I live on the moon.
Just boring old Earth.
Alright, so what do we know about this show?
There's a giant dog.
It's a really big dog. Dog that shouldn't be that big.
And the dog can teleport somehow?
So did they just enlarge the dog, or is that a CG dog? Because if it's a CG dog, it sounds like a lot of work. Because we already have dogs.
Well, I don't think it'd be that much work. I mean, I'm sure they have models like dogs. That's a really easy thing to generate.
Oh, you can just mocap a dog, right?
Yeah.
Just put a dog on a green screen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need to start a dog from scratch.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get yourself a regular dog. But okay, so it seems like there's people on Earth, humans, and then there's people on the moon, Inhumans.
And they have some sort of hierarchy?
They have their own, I guess, government, which is a monarchy.
Yeah.
Because the dude's brother is the king, and I guess the woman that looks like Starfire is his queen. And then they have him and his brother look completely different. I guess it could be related, but as far as character tropes go, it looks like the brave, strong-jawed, wise young king and his snivelly, creepy brother. He's always scheming. Doesn't it look like his brother just clasps his hands together a lot like Mr. Burns?
He's always has something contrary to say to whatever's going on. You just don't like him. Like,
he doesn't look as cool as the king. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Doesn't exude confidence.
He's probably not married like the king either. Isn't that interesting?
Go figure.
But anyway, so like at first, I thought it was gonna be like they just don't want to talk about mutants no more. Fox get a copyright for the word mutants.
I think so.
It sounds like something they do. So it's like, we're gonna talk about mutants, but we're not really gonna talk about mutants.
Inhumans.
But still, they refer to themselves as Inhumans. They don't call themselves like some made up word for a new race of people. But basically, they are like mutants. They're like, but like, what if they separated all of them and shot them to the moon?
Yeah.
That's probably an X-Men comic book already. What if they lived on the moon? I bet that's like Superman and Batman also. Comic books, man.
They go there.
They have a lot of issues to print out, man.
They've been going for a while too. So like,
You think Batman practically lives on the moon compared to us?
yeah.
Like, I'm sure he doesn't go all the time, but I'm sure the option's always there.
It goes in the bat rocket.
I need to be alone. Oh wait, the humans live there now.
Yeah.
When did the moon get so crowded? Used to be where I went to think.
And Superman just pops up. Hey, we go.
Hey, I knew I could find you here. Ugh. All right,
Clark.
but it seems like they're doing pretty well on the moon, at least thus far. The Inhumans.
Where do they get supplies from? Like,
well, it looks like they terraformed the moon or whatever you got to do to make the moon livable, like stop all the asteroids from landing on people. But,
yeah.
but like, it looks like they live comfortably on the moon. It looks kind of like Game of Thrones.
These actors is from Game of Thrones. I'm not sure which one.
But well, we don't watch Games of Thrones, so like from a periphery view, this feels like very Game of Thronesy. Like there's a king, there's like a monarchy, there's like intrigue and magic. There's probably gonna be like cussing and nudity, but
there's wild animals.
The only thing we know,
creatures,
powers wise, like it's only the king, right? Is he the one that went to Earth?
Yeah.
And
with the dog.
But like, is that dog part of his powers? Or is the dog just like his like servant or his like buddy?
It's his dog.
But his dog can travel through time or something, or travel through dimensions, or his dog is magic. We know that.
Some sort of giant magic
and
dog.
It was magic enough to send him down to the Earth. But it's really weird that people will be so shocked that a guy with magic powers is on Earth when they already know that there's a bunch of people with magic powers living on the moon.
Yeah, and they're afraid of them. Well, no, maybe they don't know they're on the moon. Like they're hiding or something.
Oh, that might be true.
Yeah.
Oh, and besides, I guess you wouldn't. I guess if they all live on the moon, you still wouldn't run into them too often.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, how come there isn't like a Moon Fight Club show, like Moon MMA, that features like the best mutant fighters on the moon?
I'm just remembering the whole Futurama episode.
We're whalers on the moon.
I'm gonna start my own amusement park with blackjack and hookers.
I say that for all the Kickstarter games now. I can't make Mega Man anymore. Well, I'm gonna make my own Mega Man. Blackjack, hookers. I'm still waiting for the Kickstarter release that has like that hidden room of blackjack and hookers.
Just like Vegas.
All right, but Inhumans. Are we excited though? Are you gonna see it in the theater?
Probably not.
Are you going to see it on TV?
I'll try if it's at a very convenient enough time slot.
If I remember, and I'm free, and I care.
Yeah. Like you said, it seems very Game of Thronesy. I don't know, it might be too much drama.
Well, the ending made it feel like a fish out of water story. Like he shows up on Earth and he doesn't know what's what. Because they made it look like the moon is kind of less like they have, like, we're looking at their fancy staircase right now. So they clearly have, like, what is it? Like technology, right? Like enough to make like metals but like I didn't see.
The guards have guns.
Yeah, but I didn't see like anyone in their kingdom like watching a TV or nothing.
Yeah.
So like even if it's like technologically up to date, it seems like they're still trying to imply that it's not, how do you say, like they're not carrying smartphones around on the moon.
No, they live very simple lives on the moon.
Reading their moon paper, moon mowing their moon lawns. Carl, we've been here for 4 generations. You don't have to say moon so much. But anyway, like they did show that like it's a culture completely removed from Earth culture, because when he showed up on Earth, it looked like he was just in present day New York.
Yeah.
And why, like, as soon as he screamed a police car out of his way, like, why wasn't like Captain America on top of him, like punching his face? If he landed in New York, right?
No, what was happening was like the cops were coming after him, and then like
yeah,
they were
like
beating him down, and then like he just grunted, and then that was enough of his, like, I guess he has the voice power.
Since when do New York cops beat down well-dressed white men?
We're talking about mutants here, Anthony. Like,
did they know he was a mutant? Because if they knew, they probably wouldn't have started beating him with batons.
Yeah, they don't like.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtext we didn't think about this final, like the final shot of him being beat up by the cops.
Police brutality, man. It's rampant.
Even though he's like a beautiful white guy in a business suit. Are there black people on the moon?
I think I saw 1 or 2.
Okay.
There.
But are there Mexicans on the moon?
Probably not.
No. They built a wall.
Moon wall? This has got to be connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. somehow, and then they just had Ghost Rider on there. Ghost Rider was a Mexican guy.
Cool. We gotta see that then.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, I gotta see it.
Yeah, you
Why
did.
didn't you tell me about that?
Thought I did.
Is he like, because now all I could think of when I think of Ghost Rider is Nicolas Cage.
You poor bastard.
So yeah, I'm very open to a new interpretation of Ghost Rider.
They did a pretty good job with it. Like, it's crazy. Like there's the actor guy who's like playing. He's introduced as the Ghost Rider, but then like the Ghost Rider in him becomes its own character later.
So like it leaves his body?
Yeah, it's crazy. We should definitely watch that.
So like the Ghost Rider and him are different people. So like the person Ghost Rider inhabits is like currently a Mexican guy.
Yeah,
that's pretty rad. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Mexican characters lately too, because I was doing a video about Suda51, who's a Japanese game producer, but he's like done some of like the only games that have a Mexican protagonist.
What games are these?
Shadows of the Damned. The main character is Garcia Hotspur, and he's a Mexican American demon hunter who lives in Los Angeles. If there's ever a video game character I wanted to connect with, Mexican American demon hunter. That's up there.
The Brown Constantine.
Yeah. And in Shadows of the Damned, he has to go to hell to save his white girlfriend. This Japanese game developer really knows Mexicans. But yeah, like it seems like he's just influenced by like Robert Rodriguez and like Guillermo del Toro movies.
Oh, nice.
Like, but he's from Japan. So, like, it's like, well, of course he has to be Mexican. Like, I don't know
It's
if
LA.
he knows. I don't know if he even knows why he's making a Mexican protagonist. But I appreciate it very much.
Kind of just happened, you know?
Oh, yeah, like, because I'm sure he doesn't want, like, the game protagonists look like the same guy in every single game. Like, they do that, like, post every E3, they would have, like every protagonist in an upcoming game and, like, 20 out of 30 would be like a stubble-faced white guy with brown hair.
Yeah. Like Metal Gear. Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Or Snake.
Well, they had Raiden, but everyone hated him. I'll take my grizzled, brown-haired protagonist, please.
No pretty boy.
At least every Western game, like, I guess Eastern games still let, like, people without facial hair be protagonists.
Yeah.
Alright, so, Inhumans, though.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, they might cross over with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so, like, you'll see...
Oh, they're both on ABC, right?
Yeah.
Inhumans of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of the Moon.
Moon Agents.
So there's still an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I thought S.H.I.E.L.D. was infiltrated by Hydra. They took care of that?
Yeah, and then they kind of went underground.
Yeah,
You
because
gotta
I
watch
thought,
season
like...
3.
Yeah, because I was like, well, even if the government wanted to keep S.H.I.E.L.D. around, they'd probably rename it.
The public wouldn't allow it.
We'll call it Hydra. No, back to the drawing board.
Herd.
Horda. But can we still use this octopus logo? I don't think so.
It's just such a good logo.
Did they do that on the show? Like when Hydra took over, like you see the S.H.I.E.L.D. sign flip over and it turns into Hydra? So that's what that working crew was doing last week. We are
Massive
not a
project.
good undercover agency. But how do you think it would cross over then? Because, like, well, I guess if he's on Earth now, he's like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would have to take care of that, right?
Yeah,
Don't they deal
would.
with
Inhumans. Yeah, they like assess them, and if they're like evil, then they like put them in special Inhuman jail that they built. It's like it's honeycomb room. Looks weird.
Are there like do the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. get like frustrated? Because I feel like the Inhuman guy's gonna show up and it's gonna be the storyline, like you said, like we didn't even know they were on the moon. Like maybe they went there, like that's why we built the space program in the 60s. Then we never talked about it again.
Secretly get rid of Inhumans.
Yeah. Hey, that's pretty good. We should be writers. But yeah, so like, you know, he would come to Earth and like, you're from the moon? You crazy? Yeah, he's crazy. Lock him up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and then there's like there's definitely going to be like a war between some of the Inhumans and like some of the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. probably.
I want to see like the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has to like take the notes down every time they like discover a new guy. So like, okay, where are you from? The moon. Okay. We live in a world where I'm not sure how serious he is. It's like, are you a mutant? I'm Inhuman. But are you a mutant? No. So you're a human? No. Other.
Just write it in.
And then it's just like, wait, so we have like several forms of aliens attacking the Earth, ancient gods, robots we build ourselves to attack us.
Yeah, that actually just happened on S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
And then also we have our own crazy people on Earth just trying to destroy us themselves.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me the moon wants to kick our ass too?
Every angle you could think of.
This is a lot to take in. Like, does anyone else want to announce anything? Then some people from the sun show up. Well, we're going to engulf the entire solar system in flames, but we'll let you know before we do it.
Might take a few years.
A few hundred. Well, we live very long in the sun. You probably, I don't know about you guys. Oh, that's something we need to talk about too. How Star Wars lost their directors.
Oh yeah.
And they were the directors that did the Lego movies and 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, I heard that they're they're making it too funny.
Oh no!
I actually saw it somewhere. I didn't read an article. Or
Yeah, they said it was creative differences.
Well, I saw something that said they basically turned Han Solo into Ace Ventura.
Good. I am completely on board with Han Solo talking with his butt.
Driving the Millennium Falcon with his head out of the window.
I bet Harrison Ford would have been in that movie. Like they would have just let Harrison Ford let him get super high and just like pretend to be Han Solo. Like he could say all the bitter stuff he hates about being Han Solo and get paid millions of dollars for it and be high.
Yeah.
It would have been a perfect Han Solo movie.
Act like a jackass.
It's like he could just play Han Solo's like angry grandpa. And then like young Han Solo's like, I'm never going to be like you, grandpa. And then they'll both look at the camera and like mug at the camera. Because it's a comedy. Well, I would be afraid that they would be too comedic, like you were saying. Like they turned him into Jim Carrey or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like they definitely need to take themselves less seriously. It feels like the Star Wars movies, a lot like the Marvel movies, are like playing it very safe. And because of that, it doesn't feel like it doesn't resonate with you as much because it doesn't feel like they're taking a lot of risks.
Yeah.
And like,
well, I don't know. Have you seen, what was the last one?
Rogue One?
Rogue One? Yeah.
What was risky about it?
I don't know. Did you see it?
No, I just read a lot of reviews.
No, I didn't see it either.
Well, I heard that one was like really dark because everyone dies in it.
I think that was the point, though.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to sell us on, and that's what also makes me mad. Is they're like, no, we're gonna have a Star Wars every year, but it's gonna be like, we're gonna have a Han Solo adventure that's gonna be like funny. Then we're gonna have Rogue One, which is gonna be all dark and sad war movie, and then we're gonna have regular Star Wars, which are like fun action movies.
They're trying to do an eclectic series.
But Rogue One just felt like more Star Wars. Like it didn't feel. It was dark, but not dark enough. And then now they're making a Han Solo movie, which is like, I thought it, obviously, like, because of Harrison Ford's legacy, like, you feel like you're going to get like an Indiana Jones kind of movie, right? When you think of a Han Solo movie.
Han Solo?
Han Solo is Solo in his first solo movie, Solo. But yeah, like, I was expecting something to be like that, and I thought the guys who made Lego Movie and stuff could work that into the way that would work in like the 21st century, you know, like where it's a little more meta, I guess, and more irreverent. But I still thought it could have been good with them. And now it feels like, no, we just need like, he shoots some people, he says some witty quips that were deemed witty quips by an entire panel of people we showed the movie to, who all rated the joke between 1 and 10. They all rated this witty quip at least a 5.
Yeah. It's adequate. For a quip.
No one was offended or unhappy with this quip. This quip got between 5 and 8 for everybody, but no 10s, because it wasn't good. Well, that's what the Star Wars movies feel like to me. Like, everyone has to get it, or else nobody gets it.
Just very middle of the road. There's not that much risk you can take with a young Han Solo, because, of course, there's no threat of death.
We like Star Wars, and we like Han Solo, right? So, like, the idea of a Han Solo movie automatically sounds pretty sweet. But yeah, what's he gonna do? Like, there was never any part like in the original Star Wars movies, or even the one where in the newer ones where, you know, he dies. There was like never any part where it's like, wow, how did he get here? Yeah, you know, like I never felt like, because we know Chewbacca they show in the prequels at the end of the prequels, so Chewbacca is like 100 years old or some shit.
He's as old as Yoda.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's that old. But basically, we see him in the prequels, and he's already an adult. So that means he's as old as, say, like, Emperor Palpatine, who's also still alive, I guess, up until Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But Chewbacca should have, like, gray fur. Did he have gray fur in Force Awakens? I don't remember.
Not really. Kind of looked just the same as from...
They just
originals.
grabbed the old suit out of storage.
Yeah.
Sprayed it for fleas. Put this on. Well, so like I guess the Han Solo movie would be him meeting Chewbacca, right? That's like the only thing I guess I would be interested in.
Oh yeah, and young Lando.
Oh, well, yeah, they say in one of the Star Wars that he lost the Millennium Falcon in a bet.
Yeah,
so we just get to see him bet the Millennium Falcon.
He's going to be without the Millennium Falcon for a little.
Well, so I assume in the beginning of the Han Solo movie, Lando has the Millennium Falcon. And by the end of the movie, it'll be Han Solo and he's best friends with Chewie. And they're like driving off in the Millennium Falcon.
Into the sunset.
Spoiler alert. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
It ends like Thelma and Louise with...
They drive the Millennium Falcon off a cliff. Yeah. That would be awesome. And then they'll just do a de-aged Harrison Ford scene for like re-releases of the original trilogy. And then like at the very beginning of the trilogy, they'll just be like, "So Han, how did you get out of that?"
Just did some stuff.
The re-release of Star Wars now with a new scene. Harrison Ford shrugging. Sweet.
And nerds will pay for it. Are you looking forward to how Ron Howard directing?
Let's look up Ron Howard movies because I'm like not even. He did Apollo 13, which I saw when I was like in 5th grade. So I don't, and I've never like had a hankering to go back and see it.
I'll watch it if it's on.
Inferno came out last year. I did not see that. I never even heard of it.
That's a sequel, one of the sequels to the Da Vinci Code.
Oh, right.
He also did Angels and Demons, which came...
And the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Dang, it took that long to do the third one?
10 years.
Oh, who cares? They were all terrible. He did A Beautiful Mind. Oh, what if he did Han Solo like that? Where Han Solo's like going crazy because of the Force. I'm telling you, there's this thing called the Force. Whatever, Han, you're crazy.
No, because in the original trilogy, he doesn't believe in the Force, and then later on in Force Awakens, he finally accepts it.
Oh, so he couldn't become a crazy old Force coot until after the original trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, you did Willow?
Yeah, Willow was the shit.
Isn't that a Lucasfilm?
I think so. I remember Willow because we had it on a VHS when I was a little kid. So it was like, well, like we've said before, you don't have very much entertainment back in our day. Before phones.
You take what you can get.
Or I mean before mobile phones. We did have phones, but they weren't really phones compared to now.
It's something on a wall.
Oh, that reminds me, there was this funny thing because Nintendo, instead of having like voice chat over the Nintendo Switch, they're gonna release an app on the phone so you could use voice chat through your game through your phone or tablet, right? So it seems kind of convoluted, right?
Yeah, it just sounds like you're talking on the phone while you're playing.
Yeah. But then, like, what made me laugh was, like, in the comments, like, Nintendo wants us to use a phone to talk to our friends instead of using the system? Like, I think that's what everyone wants, yes.
It only makes sense.
Like, I understand his outrage because of the complexity of the Nintendo voice chat system, but the way he worded it made him sound like an idiot. You want me to use the phone to talk to people? This is an outrage of the highest order.
It's not a new concept.
Yeah, dude, welcome to every year except the last 10 years.
Man, it's hot in here.
Yeah, we only have so much recording time because it's getting too hot. This is why we can't be a great podcast. I bet Adam Carolla has air conditioning. Anyway, Ron Howard. He did Willow. Dr. Seuss is the Grinch. He's done a lot of Tom Hanks movies.
Oh yeah, he did Splash.
And then he did all of the Da Vinci Codes. He did Apollo 13.
In the Heart of the Sea.
Are you sure Tom Hanks isn't playing Han Solo? This is Chewie. That's a volleyball. All right. Well, we're still going to see it, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
But that's not even for 2 years. We still have whatchamacallit to see.
No, they're filming it right now, so wouldn't that mean it comes out next year?
Yeah. But we have a Star Wars before that.
Yes, episode 8.
Get out of the way, Han Solo.
Mark Hamill's still on the scene.
What is it? Star Wars Who's It's and Jedis. No, what is it called? The Last Jedi? No, that was the name of the Last Force. No. Shit.
It is The Last Jedi.
This is getting complicated. Okay, so I had it right the first time. It's getting complicated, though, because they don't give them numbers. Well, they have numbers at the beginning of the scroll still, right?
Yeah, the last one
said
was
7
episode 7.
Okay.
And this year's episode 8.
So, but because Rogue One did not get an opening screen crawl.
No.
So it implies
it was a Star Wars story.
And no one cares about. They didn't even write it down.
Well, the exposition was kind of explained in the other Star Wars movies where they mentioned that people died to get this information, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you get to see them dying.
So, I heard that, I don't know if it's a rumor or whatever. I've heard people say, I can't give it more credence than that, that Last Jedi is going to start up right where Force Awakens ended, with her handing him the lightsaber, which sounds ridiculous. If that is true, that's so dumb. Because I just imagine, here's your lightsaber, cool. That's the first line of the movie. I've been looking for that.
And then they just immediately kick into Jedi training?
There better be a scene of Rey, but I hope she had to carry Mark Hamill around on her back.
There was some behind-the-scenes photos of that.
But I could see them doing that just to joke around.
Yeah.
But it better be in the movie.
Like he's Yoda?
He should talk like Yoda and everything. Come on. Mark Hamill is a world-famous voice actor.
He does the voice. I thought you meant the word switching the way he does.
That too. the whole 9 yards.
The whole bit.
Everything.
And the whole time Ray's like, why do you talk like that?
My ancestors you mock when you mock how I talk. Yeah, come on, Mark Hamill. They can't fire you like they can the guys behind the camera. You can talk however you want. You can talk just do the Joker voice.
Yeah.
The laugh and everything.
I thought we were going to talk about the Clippers, too.
Oh, right. We kept Blake. Bye, Chris.
That's it. That's all you got to say.
No, I have that's why sports are fun. You get a lot of mixed emotions when things happen. You got to let the bird fly from the nest. Overall, I always wanted, because we had Blake Griffin first, right? So, and we drafted him, so I want Blake Griffin to retire a Clipper. But Chris Paul, we traded for Chris Paul. So, as much, he's my favorite player. He's the greatest basketball player I've ever watched. No, I've only been watching basketball for 5 years.
It's a very important detail.
And I'm a Clippers fan, so 90% of the basketball I've watched has involved Chris Paul. But anyway, he's my favorite player, but I knew it wasn't going to last forever, because that's how sports are. And now he's on the Rockets, and I have a lot of shit to talk about the Rockets next season. That's for sure.
But you're still going to root for Chris Paul, right?
Well, yeah, I'm I'm going to root for him. I wish you all the success in the world that doesn't get in the way of the Clippers.
Yeah. More power to you, but Clippers versus Rockets, you're going down.
I hope. Probably not, but I hope Blake puts 40 points on the Rockets at least.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
And I hope you finally learn to run and share the ball. That's something I do want to say is that the Rockets have like the up-tempo, like run up the court and shoot the ball immediately, right? Like that's how they play offense. And Chris Paul, I've been watching Chris Paul for years, especially in the Vinny Del Negro era when he was our coach. And Vinny's game plan was, what should we do, Chris Paul? So basically, like if you want to ever see Chris Paul play coach, play coach / point guard, like watch those 2 seasons where he played for Vinny Del Negro. We played so slow. It was like Chris Paul would get the ball, walk into the front court, like half a second away from a backcourt violation every play. And then he'd like point and yell, and like he'd wait for people to move around, and then like he'd tell someone to give him a pick, and he'd go around, and then he would just run under the basket, and now there's like 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Then he'd hurl it at someone with 3 seconds left and shoot it! And then they'd shoot it, and then they'd miss, and then Chris Paul would yell at him. Well, this is hyperbole, but like I'm sure there have been plays like that along the way. That's how Chris Paul likes to play basketball. He likes to use every single second of the shot clock. He hates shooting. He only shoots from the mid-range, and he needs the ball all the time, which is exact opposite of Rockets basketball. I'm really excited for Chris Paul to yell at James Harden, and also to tell him for James Harden to cut his beard. It's going to be like Mr. Burns when he was yelling at, who was it, the baseball player, to cut his sideburns?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I told you to shave those sideburns.
I did.
I don't know what you think sideburns are. You're off the team. Because I'm pretty sure Chris Paul kicked people off the Clippers if they had dumb hair. They would get benched.
Well, it's kind of like with when Ron Artest went to the Lakers. Remember how like before that when he was on the Rockets, he had shaved the fucking Rocket symbol into his head, and then like he went to LA and he did that once. I think I saw like one game. LA? He did an L, the Lakers L, but then after that, like he grew his hair out. Like I guess Kobe told him stop looking like a dumbass. Get your shit together.
Kobe's like, hey, if anyone's putting an L in their hair, it's me. And I ain't doing that shit.
Pretty much. I'm sure that's how it went down.
I miss Kobe. Well, at least I miss Kobe being in the basketball news cycle. Yeah. Good times. But anyway, Chris Paul is on the Rockets. Oh, but we kept Blake. And now we need to keep Blake healthy.
For what, 5 years?
5 years, $173 million. You're welcome, Blake.
Oh, shit.
He totally deserves it. It's just his injury history. And I don't know how I'm very wishy-washy about how I feel about injury histories with players. Because, yeah, you could always say, like, this guy's injury prone, but how likely is that really? Like, you could get injured playing basketball, and you could have a streak of bad injuries. Like, look at Steph Curry. Like, his ankle was like, you couldn't talk about Steph Curry without talking about his ankle, like, the first 5 years he was in the league.
Yeah.
And now look at him,
or Derrick
right?
Rose, same thing.
Well, yeah, but Derrick Rose has kind of lost to Steph.
Yeah.
So I think Steph Curry's like a better, like, you can never really be sure just because this guy's injured. He's going to take a step back or he's going to continue to get injured, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Steph Curry's the obviously best example of that. But I feel like if we let Blake Griffin go, we were just going to get the same shit to bite us in the ass. Like, we let Blake Griffin go because of his injury history. He goes to, like, the Thunder because, like, Oklahoma's his hometown. And then him and Westbrook would beast to, like, 3rd or 4th place in the Western Conference together.
I could totally see that happening.
It would be a goddamn nightmare. Chris Paul goes to one of your least favorite teams, the Houston Rockets. Blake Griffin goes to one of your least favorite teams, the Thunder. Now just send Jamal Crawford to the Warriors, and DeAndre could go to the Spurs. And I'll be the saddest fan alive.
JJ Redick goes to the Blazers.
I don't hate them that much. Oh, the Grizzlies. Actually, I hate the Grizzlies most of all. I didn't forget about the goddamn Grizzlies. Goddamn, I hate the Grizzlies.
Take it easy, Anthony.
Ugh. No, because they like even if you beat them, they injure you. Even after you've played the Grizzlies, you still remember playing the Grizzlies.
There's remnants of it.
Also, one of my favorite Chris Paul moments was when we were lost in 6 games to the Grizzlies, and during like a free throw shot or something, Chris Paul had like 5 fouls, and there was like 2 minutes left, and we were down by like 15 points. So he just straight runs into Marc Gasol during like the rebound for the ball off of the free throw, and immediately gets ejected.
What was the point of that?
Because he's Chris Paul and he was super pissed.
He just wanted out of the game.
Why am I even here? Fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
She had to take matters into his own hands.
But yeah, that's like that's not the only time he's fouled out of the game based on like pure anger. Because there's like levels of Chris Paul. Like there's regular Chris Paul where he's having fun, which usually only lasts for like the first half.
Yeah.
And then you get angry Chris Paul. And then you get really angry Chris Paul. And that's like a double-edged sword. Because like really angry Chris Paul will like, he'll like, angry Chris Paul plays really, how do you say, efficiently. Like angry Chris Paul still plays smart but aggressive. You see him making like a regular pass, but like it's super crisp. Yeah. But it's not some fancy like behind the legs, no look pass or anything, right? It's just a crisp, efficient pass right to a guy's like sweet spot so they could get like an easy shot.
Yeah.
But then you get super angry Chris Paul. He's like driving into people, trying to draw fouls. He's like yelling at everybody on the court. That's when he starts like doing his like between the legs like crazy moves.
Crossover.
Yeah. And like that's when he starts passing to people just to yell at them to give it back.
Do they call him something for that? Doesn't he have a nickname for that?
He's CP3, obviously, but the name I hear most from is Point God.
Point God. Jeez.
Which is a little much, but it's a good descriptor for how he plays.
I guess so.
Oh, and then they had the super sad graphic where it showed like Clippers with Chris Paul like plus 55 wins all 5 seasons, .666 win percentage, and like all these games won, and like the Clippers' entire history where Chris Paul hasn't played, like .3 win percentage, and we got like 1 playoffs round, and like no MVPs, no All-Stars, no first teams.
That's really sad.
Yeah, dude. But we still got Blake Griffin, and we're still aiming for that 6th seed now. Let's go Clippers. Okay, so we gotta talk about the SNES Mini last.
It's set to come out in
September 29th, which I think is when the Super Nintendo originally came out. I might be wrong, but it sounds like a familiar date. Like something important came out for Nintendo on that day before.
D-Day?
I don't think that is. Now you're playing with Superpower. So we got like the thing, classic controls, all the games. Okay, so we got Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, Zelda, F-Zero, Metroid, Street Fighter, Punch-Out, Castlevania, Donkey Kong Country.
Nice.
Mega Man X, Kirby Superstar, Kirby's Dream Course. For some reason, they put Final Fantasy 3 between the 2 Kirbys. Star Fox 2, Yoshi's Island, Mario RPG, Contra 3, Secret of Mana, Earthbound, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. That's a lot of games.
Yeah. Although I kind of expected there to be more for some reason.
Well, the NES Mini came with 30 games, but like NES games are like not as time intensive as Super Nintendo games. Like they included a lot of RPGs, which is really cool. All right, like Zelda will probably take you 5 to 10 hours, depending on if you like played it before.
Final Fantasy.
That's like 60 hours right there.
Jesus.
Mario RPG is like 20 hours. Earthbound is like, man, it took me like 100 hours.
So that's some good gaming right there.
Yeah, these are like some meaty game experiences. I didn't really want to talk about this because I've already heard a bunch of people talk about it, and I don't feel like I have any hot take. Yeah, it's going to come out. I'm probably not going to be able to get one, and then everyone's going to be pissed off. What they need to do is do another run of the NES Mini to come out alongside the SNES Mini so that, like, you could at least try to catch people that missed out on one of them could get the other. But
that makes sense.
And that's precisely why Nintendo won't do it. Nintendo makes
it's too logical.
You can't expect things to make sense. You have to make them make sense. That's Nintendo's philosophy. All right. Well, like, there's like notable exceptions. I was sad to not see Donkey Kong Country 2, which is my favorite in the Donkey Kong Country series. There's no Chrono Trigger, but I'm going to go ahead and blame Square Enix, the people who own Chrono Trigger, for that one. Because, like, Final Fantasy 3 has gotten, like, 3D remakes and stuff with, like, updated graphics and, like, extra quests or whatever, you know? So, like, I don't think they feel that bad re-releasing the old version when they're trying to sell, like, newer versions of it to us. But, like, Chrono Trigger, they've never updated it, really, right? So, they're still trying to sell us, like, rebuy classic Chrono Trigger for iOS or Android for $15. And it's a great game, so, like, some people will actually do that. But then it's like, we're not going to include it on your $80 system when we want people to buy it.
Yeah.
You guys could have Final Fantasy.
It's got to be separate.
I'm glad we're getting Kirby's Dream Course. Super underrated. It's like a mini golf game. I thought for the longest time they would remake that game for the Wii because of the Wii Golf. Like the motion controls and stuff.
Mm.
And I thought, like, well, of course the next step after a golf game is a mini golf game. It's time to bring back Kirby's Dream Course. That was like over 10 years ago now.
That made too much sense, Anthony.
Save that sense for someone else. Nintendo isn't making any sports games. And it's upsetting because I do want to play sports games, like, but they don't put things like NBA 2K or Madden or anything on Nintendo systems.
Well, they're too busy making like the competitive games like for the Switch where you can play with another person, like where they do like tug of war and like darts, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, that's lame.
That's sports for Nintendo.
But like the Switch controller has as many buttons as like a Super Nintendo controller, and Madden came out for that. But even then, like, it doesn't have to be like super realistic sports. Like, I'll still take like an NBA Jam or an NFL Blitz.
That'd be sick.
Especially with like the portable nature. Like, you would want a sports game where like a person could like pick up and understand real quick. You know, like maybe they don't want the in-depthness of like a Madden or a NBA 2K.
Yeah.
But like either the NBA 2K people or whatever, they should make like a NBA Jam or NBA Street-ish version for the Switch, or port it to the Switch and then don't focus on like the online aspect maybe so much, but focus on adding like a lot more multiplayer stuff to it.
You don't think people want to play each other's teams online?
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like if people want to play online, they're probably going to get the PlayStation or the Xbox version. But like the Switch version would be really good for playing in person.
Oh yeah, or like do like Switch to Switch.
That's like if you're hanging out already, you could play that, or you could like use both controllers to play together. So like they could focus on that, and then maybe people will buy both versions of NBA 2K.
More money for everybody.
Everyone makes money. That's the most annoying part about Nintendo. Like, you could, people would be happy and you'd be richer. No, that makes sense.
It's like they don't like money.
We hate it.
So maybe they got the right idea.
Like Nintendo's trying to achieve enlightenment or something.
Boo.
The Nintendo headquarters disappeared in a ball of light today as they finally discovered the true nature of fun.
Wow, they had it right all
They
along.
finally did it. All right, so I'm gonna try to buy one though. I have like an email alerts and stuff set up for this stupid thing.
It would be nice.
Even though I own I own 3/4 of the game of the games on here.
Yeah.
And we were even playing Contra earlier, and we could play a lot of these other games right now too.
But then you'd have to change the cartridges.
Yeah. Plus, like, these games are tiny and like a little tiny system.
Yeah. Very convenient.
They should release like an adapter for it. Like if you could like just like a little slot thing that you will plug into like the port of the SNES Mini, of the SNES Mini, and then you could just put a game in there, so then you can play all the games you already own.
You think there's people who have games but not the systems? So
Well, it would be nice if like if I want to play Chrono Trigger now, I need 2 Super Nintendos hooked up.
Yeah, get more TVs, dude.
Update your TV game, man. Alright, so we're done talking, right?
Yeah, fucking open the window.
The end. Thanks for listening to the Bystanders Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/GameMusicForAll. You can find links and show notes from today's episode at thebystanderspodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Bystanders Podcast and on Twitter at TBS Podcast. And you can support the show by subscribing to us at patreon.com/Genoboots.